And I said, you know what, I'm just gonna jump straight into it. I actually like the turnout of the last episode I recorded. So yeah, this mic, again, I'm a little still on it, but it's good though. I got the mic holder. I did some wiring management today, and everything is good. Everything looks good. All right, so again, welcome back. I'm Eli, the Marfan homie, here in the studio. So yeah, this is what we got. So again, slowly upgrading. Got some equipment on the way. Hopefully, somebody said they're gonna surprise me with some equipment, so we'll see how that goes. Um, but yeah, man, everything's going on is on the up and up. So let's get into it. Let's get a little recap going on. So we're at so what's happened since? So last week was the episode on my heart surgeries. So let me see what happened after I recorded that. Well, last week was pay week. I get paid bi-weekly. So last week was pay week. Got some stuff off of Amazon, I believe. I bought me some dress shirts. I am no longer wearing ties. I am trying my best not to wear ties. I am a person that I get uncomfortable really quick. I sweat very bad, and ties and dress shirts with collars do not do anything for me as far as that's concerned. So I'm over it. I'm over wearing shirts with ties and collars. So what I wear now are band collars. So I ordered 2 new band collar shirts. Finally, I've been searching for them since last year. However, I wasn't able to do it. So last year, every time that I had to dress up, rocked a couple turtlenecks. And again, I finally found a brand of turtlenecks that fit me, my long arms. I'm a 18 and a half neck with the 36, 37 dress shirt length. So if anybody wants to buy me any dress shirts, that's my size. But again, band collar. We're still wear the collar shirts, but I just don't want to do the tie thing. Honestly, we'll have to see about the tie. Just like it has to be that event to make me want to wear a tie. So what else? Saturday and Sunday. What happened Saturday and Sunday? Saturday. Oh, I went to see Creed. Went to see Creed 3. I personally liked it. Me and my girlfriend went to go see it. I liked it. I liked the storyline. I didn't read too much into the interviews, besides of course the main interview with the chick or whatever. But I didn't read into any of the interviews before. Like Rocky wasn't in there. However, I'm pretty sure they had their reasons, and I'm pretty sure if they do a Creed 4, he'll probably be back. Don't do impersonations, but if Sylvester Stallone or Rocky just say probably had to take a little break. But I liked the movie. I watched all the Rockies. I watched all the Creeds to lead up to this point. And then I was like, all right, it was legit. And now I'm watching the Expendables trilogy. So I'm watching the Expendables trilogy. So I'm on Expendables 3 right now. But so yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's honestly been happening since yesterday. Yesterday was different. So yesterday was Monday, it's the top of the work week. However, I took one of my mental health days. If your job provides them, take them. If they don't provide them, make them. Like as simple as that. And then when I say make them, yeah, of course, talk to HR and whoever else you need to talk to. However, what I'm telling you is to make those days, take those days out of your vacation, however you want to do it. Honestly, I had a dream last night the night before, and I was just like so worried that I guess I wasn't getting my work done, or my manager, or this loud car that's passing by. But like my manager, oh come on man, the exhaust. My manager, it's like I was in a dream and I was just everywhere, and I was like, I knew I should be at work, but everything kept like piling up, and I was like, man, my manager's gonna call me. It was a weird dream. I woke up that morning and I was like, I just don't feel like going. And so my girlfriend walked in the room and she said, I took off. I was like, man, for real? All right, I'm about to take off too because I had the weirdest dream. So this is taking a while, but this is what it's all about, right? Podcast talk. I can tell you, say what you want. Um, we took off, went to the gym, and then left the house. We left the house around 10:30. Didn't come back till around 7:30. Went for breakfast. Went to Starbucks. Went shopping. Went to Sandbox VR in Dallas. I highly recommend it. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend going to Sandbox VR. We did the Zombies by the Valley reenactment or game or whatever. We did that one. That one was good. And then we had lunch at this Mexican restaurant in the Preston Center. And then we went to Evo in South Lake. And if you haven't been there, it's amazing. It's a big kids fantasy, honestly. And so yeah, that's so it's pretty eventful since the last episode. I wish my life could stay consistent like that. However, I don't pressure it to stay consistent like that. So, whatever. How's the month going? So March just started. Today is actually my nephew's birthday. So on this day, I'm recording March 7th. Happy birthday to my nephew. He turns 11 today. Who, well, as you guessed it, has Marfans. And again, his dad, my brother, has Marfans. However, we're working through it. He seems to be doing good. We take him to his my brother and his mom takes him to his doctor's visits, and honestly, he's doing good. He has classes. He has corrective lenses. However, he's doing good. Tall, lanky nephew. He's doing good though. He's doing very good in school, and he's actually dabbling in a couple sports. So I'm proud of him for that. And he is, I would say, at age 11, he is honestly a lot aware, but he's more aware of his condition than I think I probably was at the age of 11, which it speaks in high volume too. Of course, he's curious, and of course, he is listening to what his dad is telling him about having Marfans and how you should go about different situations if you feel a different type of way or any type of way. So that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. So yeah. So now, that's how this month is going again. March 7th. Ooh, just started. How's work going? Like I said, I took a mental health day. And it's not that work is going bad or anything. It's just you have to rejuvenate. Like I said, I think I mentioned this on my last one. I finished a project and I'm just like, all right, I need to take some time. And then again, I see why people, that's what I said. I see why people honestly take vacations. Hold on one second. So the audio cord was not connected to my phone, and I will not be starting over. So as I edit this, I'll probably higher the volume, make the volume higher on the first half or the first 8 minutes, and then lower the volume. Hopefully it caught everything that I said. The mic on these phones is supposed to be good, right? I was wondering why I was getting so much feedback. Oh, I hope that does not play on here. Oh, that would be tragic. Oh, let's pause. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. I'm back. I am back. So of course that's what editing is made for, and I'm just gonna talk like nothing happened. But yeah. So like I was saying, like again, you take vacation. That's why I was like you said again. I see why people take vacation after they finish a big project, and they time their vacations around their project and just whatever they got going on. Like I said, yesterday took a mental health day. It felt great. Had lots of fun, lots of laughs, lots of food, lots of food, and everything was good. Um, so yeah, that was dope. So what I'm going to do now is talk about a subject that I normally avoid, do not talk about. It's probably one of the reasons why I don't go anywhere. I don't go to people's houses, anything like that. Which is my feet. Yay! So let's applaud for bravery. So and one more time because I like it. But yeah, if there was one thing in my life holding me back, I would definitely say it's my feet. But again, that's all mental, and but honestly, it's physical. Um, so what I have for the meat of my, you can see like the mood and the tone just changed and everything. But what I have for the meat of this podcast is and I'm gonna read how it's written down, and we're just honestly gonna go through each and every one of these topics. So what I have here is the pain, the hurt when I noticed it started hurting, the shape, the toes, the crust, the end calluses. I'm talking of doing surgery, the actual surgeries, the balance, the recoveries, the knee scooter, the downtime, the relief and pain, the new shoe collection, the pedicures, the different size feet, and after all of these, there might still have to be a round two of surgery, which is true. And then we'll go back to the toes again. So let's start with the pain and the hurt and when I started noticing. So I would say again, I think, and this is honestly, I hate saying stuff like my and this is for me and stuff like that, but this is the story, like, or this is the way that I've noticed it happening for me, like growing up, and it's so weird. So as a kid, and this is when let's say I would live in Decatur and Atlanta, Decatur, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia. In Decatur, that was basically my childhood home. So as I was growing up in that home, I never wore slippers. I really felt comfortable walking around barefoot. Like my feet never really hurt and stuff like that. However, go past all that. It was one day my brother went off to college. He bought a pair of slippers to basically wear around the house slippers. And then so I was like, okay, yeah, I want to be like my older brother. Blah blah blah. I was like, hey mom, can you buy me some slippers? Bought me the slippers. Since that day, I have never walked in my house without slippers. And I think that is what handicapped me to this point. Well, one of the things that, of course, handicapped me to this point. I think that, like, again, when people walk barefoot, they make their feet tougher and more susceptible to hard surfaces. I think for me, I took that away from my feet. So that day I got the slippers, and I think that was the fourth grade going into fifth grade. So that summer, I got those slippers, and it was basically, I want to say all downhill from there, but I would just be like, where's my slippers? Where's my slippers? Coming home from school, right on the MARTA bus, and it's like, oh, I'm going to go slip my slippers on. But my feet have always been able to take hard, flat surfaces up until my feet started getting to soft surfaces. And I think, of course, my feet, even if we were to take a step back, I don't have an arch. My ankle bone literally sits on the ground, which forms calluses that often hurt more times than any. And I won't be showing my feet on YouTube, so don't even go on YouTube and looking for it. You go on YouTube to watch the video, great, thanks for the watch, but I won't be going, like I said, this is something that is still very dear to me, and it's just like, I mean, again, if you've seen me or if you came to my house, you see that I have slip-on slippers. But when I go to other people's house, I normally put on like the comfy slippers that cover up your toes and everything. Call it what it is. However, that's just what I do to cope with what I'm going through and still try to be social at the same time. But again, I don't have an arch. My ankle bone is literally sitting on the ground. Very flat feet. My toes, I'm just gonna go ahead and say they're ugly. My toes are ugly. I think it's a very rough case of hammer toe that I am dealing with. Very rough case. And I once went to a doctor that called it neglected club foot. Yeah, basically not syndrome or surgery. But if you Google neglected club, uh, neglected club foot surgery, they'll show you before and after pictures of, let's say, a child with neglected club feet, to where they were able to basically gave this man a 100% perfect foot. And of course, with the screws and however else they might have done it. And I'll tell you about how they did mine, or to give me some type of comfort. This might be another long episode, like the hard one was, so stay tuned. So let's see. Basically, so that's how my feet basically look. So again, every shoe that I step in, I'm widening the shoe like at least times 10. So that's always fun, quote unquote, to look up to or to look forward to. Again, it's very uncomfortable some days when I walk. It's very uncomfortable when I wear slippers that I'm not used to wearing. Let's say like the cloth or the comfy slippers. I try to wear them, but then it's just like, because again, if my calluses on my feet get too hard, I have to switch back into the foam slippers type ordeal. But again, so I got the slippers. Everything was good. I was still like switching, but I was wearing the slippers more than none. And then let's say this was the day that I noticed a big change. Because even then, when I was in elementary school, I would take my shoes off and run or walk around the classroom, not knowing that I'm the only different one, blah, blah, blah. The day that I noticed the pain, like a pain, is the day I bought these shoes. And they were, I'm not bad mouthing the shoe, however, these were the shoes. They were Adidas Rod Lever or Laver. They were black high top Adidas. They looked great. They felt uncomfortable. And again, being poor, whatever the case may be, being not as fortunate to have 2 pairs of or 3 pairs of running shoes, or like again back-to-back shoes. Those were my main shoes. So imagine putting on a pair of shoes that you have to wear for over 10 hours. Well, imagine. Women and men probably do it every day. However, again, my case was a little different because not now, like I said, I have my ankle bone is falling to the ground. My ankle is hanging over the shoe, forming a callus, is being very uncomfortable at that time. That time up to now, again, and my foot hasn't really changed. The doctor was, I'll get to it. Had that shoe. My sister bought them for me. I wanted some all black forces because I had some all white forces. I didn't experience any pain with the forces. The only thing that my shoes, because of the way my foot is shaped, my shoes would then start to lean. So it's honestly, I would have to get a new pair of shoes just to keep that leanness from ever happening pretty frequently. But again, we didn't have money like that. So it's like, all right, we're going to get these good looking pair of shoes. And you just gonna have to do with this until we could get another pair of shoes. Not to mention, they were cloth, like I said, high top, ankle hanging off, and the bottom, the sole of the shoe was not the softest. And again, like I said, I need soft bottom shoes. I need the sole to be soft. So I have calluses forming on the ankle bone that's hanging off. Like imagine your ankle bone supposed to be up here. Imagine it just sitting on the ground, lateral with the rest of your feet. So now I have to buy. No. I'm dealing with that. There's a callus like literally on the ball of my foot being formed. I got corns being formed because of who knew the shoe was too small. I wore a 10. I should have bought a 10 and a half. At the time, this was eighth grade, so I wore, yeah, 10 and a half in eighth grade. Um, what else? It was a bad, very bad formula. Um, and I had to deal with that for the whole eighth grade year. I think after eighth grade, I brought those shoes to Jamaica and gave them away. I didn't want anything to do with those shoes. They were so uncomfortable. And then, no, let's flip forward. Let's go back even more. One more pair of shoes. My cousin, again, this is from having like not having money. My cousin let me get a pair of shoes that were too big. Imagine, I was in eighth grade wearing a 10. The shoes that he gave me were a 12, and they were Jordan ones, size 12, and those did no good for my feet. I would wear those every day. I wore those every day, and my foot hurt every day. And again, I had to take Marta to school. That was 2 hours by itself. I had to wear those shoes for 8 hours on end till school let out. Then I had to take another 2 hours just to get home. By the time I got home, my feet were worn out. So I told my mom one day, and I was like, "Mommy, I need something." Like, she's like, "Well, you're gonna have to cut the calluses off." That was the day I was introduced to basically one of those little eyebrow razors that women use for their eyebrows. I took one of those razors, took it to the bottom of my foot, and scraped off a layer of callous dead skin. So it got to the point where I was doing this at least every 2 weeks. And God forbid I cut too deep and cut my skin. I'm risking infections. I'm risking cutting all types of veins in my feet, all because my feet were highly uncomfortable. It was a thing. It was definitely a thing, and that was the only thing I knew up until like I'll say college, where I got a pet egg for the first time, and I recommend if you have calluses and they make your feet uncomfortable, get a pet egg, let it take the pain away. Um, but yeah, so basically, even then, let's cut this story short so we can jump into the meat and describe it a little bit more, but in a more unified way. From eighth grade, basically that was when I discovered that. So eighth grade was '07. That was when I like discovered the pain and knew that those type of shoes didn't work for me. Um, High school, still figuring things out, but by the time junior year and senior year of high school came around, I had now found that Nike ACG boots worked for me. Manoas, I think that's how you pronounce it. Those worked for me. So what I did in 11th grade, I bought this black pair, and I wore those every single day. I literally wore them every single day. And then when Thanksgiving came around, Black Friday came around, I finally had some money, got some money from my uncle or somebody, saved that up, went and bought another pair, a blue pair. I bought a black pair first, and I bought a blue pair. Wore them every single day. So then I was like, oh, maybe Nike's the brand for me. Senior year came around, I bought some Air Max 90s. Wrong move. Now I'm back to the point where my ankle is hanging off the thing, hanging off the way that the shoe is shaped, and I'm highly uncomfortable for at least the first 2 months of school, up until I was able to, I think, buy some new shoes, or I started wearing the blue ones that I had from last year, and I started wearing the black ones that I also had until I bought some new black ones. It was, I had to, I've literally been through so many pairs of shoes actually throughout my lifetime, to where, especially now that I'm older and I'm working and I got a little change to spare, I've been through a lot of shoes just trying to find comfort. And one thing that I will not sacrifice on any pair of shoes that I buy is the comfort. And again, I think some people do look at me crazy, like, man, those are some good shoes. I was like, they're not comfortable. Or again, bring vanity into it. However, this is just the way that I'm going to look. And again, those are some good pair of shoes. I don't like the way they look on my feet. I am not sacrificing the way they look on my feet or the comfort level for anything. Nothing at all. And I think that's one thing that I've honestly stayed true to since I've gotten a job and started trying to basically buy shoes that make me feel good. inside and out, like honestly. However, let's get into the meat. So that was the pain portion, the shape. I told you how my is shaped. And if you're on YouTube, I'm trying to use my left hand. As we all know, my right hand does its own thing. But my left hand, so basically, let's take the thumb, right? The thumb, or no, let's do it this way. Again, we all know where our feet is. Let's just say the thumb bone, that little bone right there, that little bone, is the ankle bone. So normally, again, of course, your feet come down, your ankle sits up like this, and then you're fine. However, ankle bone on the ground, wearing shoes that are normally formed to 99% of the feet of the 99.99 feet of the world, and you got to find what works for you, right? Because again, no one's making you a shoe. You got to go up to them. I haven't been up to anybody. However, the other day I did catch myself thinking of how I would want shoes to look, a good pair of dress shoes to look. And I think I found it. I just have to find someone to necessarily make it for me. But yeah, that's honestly the shape of my foot. So now, instead of having an arch, you just got this ankle bone on the side. You got your heel making this triangle shape. So basically, I wish I would have drew it for you guys, but I didn't, and I'm not gonna do it now. Very weird. And then let's not even say that my toes go straight and flat out. They're more, like I said, more hammer toe type thing, to where they, for one, they curl up and then they shift to the basically the direction of each foot. So the left toes, they curl up and shift to the left. The right toes, they curl up and shift to the right. And I've tried to see about getting corrective surgery on those. At the time, the doctor had told me that he was too scared that the blood vessel, I guess the vein or the blood vessel for each particular toe, would burst if he decided to straighten them out. Because again, he was like, "Let's agree, your feet are not the easiest feet to work with in the world." I was like, "All right, we're talking shit, and let's figure out what we can do." Ultimately, he came to the decision of your feet. Again, we can try to bring you comfort to where the ankle is concerned. We can't bring it all the way up. And I'm jumping the gun here. However, the toes, when it comes to the toes, each of them are connected to a blood vessel. And again, if we burst the blood vessel, we have to amputate the toe. And I was like, I've been dealing with crooked feet for the past 25 years of my life. I think I would still like them to be crooked than, again, missing a whole entire toe. I think the other option was, he said we can shave them, or basically, what was the word? Shorten them. And I was like, I don't even know. I don't even really want to know how that would happen. He said we can shorten them, and again, that will minimize the risk of the blood vessel bursting or popping. And don't get me wrong, I think I'm highly confident that my blood vessel will not burst, because mentally I'm thinking, if the blood vessel is supposed to again supply the whole toe, why would it burst unless you're agitating it? Why would it necessarily burst? If anything, the blood vessel should straighten out with the toe, right? As long as you're not touching it or agitating it, it should be fine. And that's what I think in my mind. I've been told get a second opinion. I think I'm on the verge of getting a second opinion. I actually came across a ad to where they do toe corrective procedures, but they named it as a cosmetic thing. I was like, nah, mine is pretty much medical, because again, it causes me pain. So we would see. I filled out their little survey thing, so we'll see if they contact me. The crust, the calluses. So I would say as I've gotten older, I've gotten better with servicing my feet. As far as me doing it, or actually growing some balls and going to an actual what they call them, nail shop, and going to an actual nail shop and actually letting them work on my feet. And that was one of the things I told myself when I started planning and started doing everything to get my foot surgery done. I said, all right, as soon as this surgery's done, I'm going to the pedicure. I'm going to get a pedicure. So I think since I've had my 2 ankle surgeries, I've probably had 5 pedicures. I'm still on one hand. And again, both probably men and women have well over 5. I know people that could probably get 5 in a month. So it's just like it's still new for me, so forgive me. But I still go. I like to go. They look at my feet and they try to do what they need to do. But again, I'm still jumping the gun. So, but now the crescent calluses. So, like I said, I've been working on it, and I got a pet egg. So, like I said, the straight razor thing or the eyebrow razor thing, it's not safe. I don't recommend it. Stop doing it if you're doing it. Because the amount of times that I've cut my foot in middle school, the amount of times that I've cut my feet in the 4 years of high school, the amount of times that I've cut my feet in the 4 years of college. Well, no. Let's go back. Let's take it back. In the 3 years of college, I think I got the pet egg, like junior year, second semester / senior year. But like in that time span, the amount of times that I've cut my feet and had to limp, I'm still uncomfortable because I didn't finish the cutting the calluses off the rest of the spots of my feet. And I have this big old cut that's going to take at least a week or 2 to heal so I can start walking again properly. And I've noticed sometimes I've actually like either burst as it was healing, I burst the scab or like burst that healing point. And I like one day I took off my feet, I had blood on the bottom of my socks. And I didn't even know. And I was like, man, this can't be safe. But like one day, again, you see the pet egg commercial. I was like, all right, you seen it a couple times, and then that time again, you finally got some money in your pocket. You're like, all right, I got to do better. I got to do better. So let me go get a pet egg. So got a pet egg, and I haven't looked back since. I'm like, man, forget going to a nail shop. I could do this myself. So now the only thing that I've noticed with the pet egg is that, again, it's very safe. It's just basically treated like sandpaper, or rub the sandpaper against your feet, and it captures the dead skin that's basically being shaved off your feet. However, what I've noticed is like if I go too far on my right foot has a callus like dead below like the heel or the ball of my foot. So if I go too much, if I take off too much of that dead skin, that's another healing process. However, it's more relief now than it was then because of the surgeries that I've had, of course, which I'll get into. That's next. Talking of doing surgery. So, basically, I saw doctors for years about what they can do for my feet. So originally, I was supposed to get and that's what I was stating in my last episode. I was getting ready for my foot surgery, yet alone did I know that the Lord had different plans for me. That the Lord had different plans. It's like, nope, heart surgery first. And again, it is what it is. So I was gearing up to get the surgery done in Atlanta for my feet, trying to get the insurance and everything the way it needed to be. And then that basically fell out. And so had the heart surgery, and then so the heart surgeons come in the room, I guess one of the days in my recovery, and they say, oh, okay, your feet. And they were just like, we never seen it like this before. Then I was like, yeah, it comes along, anything that you probably never seen before comes along with the Marfan territory. So they're like, no, we actually have a guy for that. I was like, what? As sick, not as sick, but as hurt as I am in the bed, I was like, you guys know somebody that could help me? They was like, yeah, he's a part of BSW, and he can help. I would definitely give him a call once he got out of here. When I tell you, when I got out the hospital, and I think after my first 2-week checkup, I called that number so fast. And again, he's a part of Baylor Scott and White, Dr. James Brodsky. Check him out if you have anything pediatric going on. Yeah, not pediatric, orthopedic. That's your foot. Orthopedic and spine, anything those going on. His office takes very good care of you. He did both my surgeries. I like to say that I have $20,000 feet because that's how much those surgeries cost. However, he took very good care of me and everything that he could do at the time. I think if I go in there for now, he'll say that we can probably do something else. Um, so what did that surgery look like? So what I was originally told, the surgery would be called a triple orthodesis with an Achilles tendon lengthening. And exactly that's what it was, right? I got so basically what they do is, like I always said, my ankle, everything was floor level, not anymore. Due to 9 screws in my left foot, and I think 7 or 8 in my, no, 9 screws in my right foot, 7 or 8 screws in my left foot, basically took it to where they took the ankle bone, that was again for me sitting on the floor, and they were able to basically raise it up and sort of tilt my foot and bring my heel like back behind my foot. So again, floor to raise, crank it up a little bit, bring the heel back to like, so basically I'm looking at a straight edge on the left side, on the outermost side of each foot, a straight edge on the outermost side, and some comfort. This is where the comfort comes in, of taking that ankle bone off the floor. I seen the x-rays and I was just like, dude, there's so many screws in there, I don't really care. I would say the recovery leading up to the point of actually walking again was a thing. So honestly, I woke up, this is the first surgery, and this is my right foot. I woke up, well, I went there. We were talking for at least a year or two before we actually got the surgery down. This was October 7th or 8th, 2019 was the first surgery for my right foot. I went in, woke up, my foot was anchored to the top. They had it, again, you can't put any pressure on it. I think it was for 8 weeks. So for 8 weeks, I was rolling around in a knee scooter, which I hated. It wasn't the most stable. It wasn't the lightest thing in the world. Like it was made of carbon fiber or something. This is straight steel and wheels. I had to learn how to do that. I had a couple therapy sessions. And that cast, I don't know if my leg is weak or it was a heavy cast. Either way it goes, that cast felt like a 2-ton boot. If you ever play like Dragon Ball Z or watch Dragon Ball Z and you like seeing Goku or Vegeta take off their shoes and it like basically crushes the ground, that's what it felt like. That's exactly what it felt like. It was a lot of pain. Even like during that time, I lost a lot of muscle mass, I guess, because I wasn't in the gym. I didn't feel the need to eat the way I needed to. And even if I did, the weight wasn't staying on. None of that. So that was definitely one of the things. So that happened so those 8 weeks. So I think December 10th, October 8th to December 10th or December 8th. That's when the cast came off and they put me in a walking cast. And the sad part about those are that now that you're walking, you're applying pressure to your foot, which is good. However, you're sweating more. Those casts can stink. Those fiberglass, they wrap them with so much gauze, and if that gauze or that cast as a whole gets wet, it stinks. And so I tried my best as far as trying not to get it wet, keeping it dry, all types of stuff, but it honestly didn't work. And again, you can't get it wet, so you gotta like cover it with a trash bag when you go in the shower, and you gotta like keep your leg out the way while still trying to like soap up your upper thigh. It was definitely a process, definitely a big process. What else happened? So yeah, that happened from that day to that day. But again, me being the person and the way that I am, I wanted the surgeries back to back. So I was like, okay, right foot is healed, barely. It's still suffering from some swelling. I still got the big boot on it. We went from a walking cast to like the big supportive boot that you again see people with like uh, I guess sprained ankle injuries, just trying to give it comfort and direction to heal at the same time. So I had one of those on one foot. I go in for surgery on the left foot now, and now this surgery was no, it wasn't COVID. It wasn't announced COVID yet. I had this surgery January 6th of 2020. Yeah. So I went from October 7th or 8th of 2019, and my second surgery was on January 6th. I went to my mom's wedding in Jamaica a couple weeks before, and then I was like, yo, I'm having surgery. I got to get back prepared, blah, blah, blah. Had surgery January 6th, and I was like, well, here we go again. So now, this is how I'm looking. I'm off the knee. Well, I'm back on the knee scooter. I enjoyed my 2 weeks of reign of being able to walk. I'm on the knee scooter for my left knee, for my left leg, my left foot. Can't put any pressure on that. And then I got this big old transformer boot on my right foot to get that swelling down and bring comfort. So I basically have on no shoes at this point. I am unable to wear shoes at this point. So now with my left foot, I couldn't take it. So I begged and pleaded with the nurse practitioner, which I honestly don't recommend. But I begged and pleaded at the 6-week mark if I could walk on it. She says, if any point where you could not or you get pain, you have to get off of it. I adhered to that for 75% of the time. 25, that other 25%, I was more on, I gotta go. Which I don't. If I was to ever do it again, I probably wouldn't do it. But which I don't know. I think I'm at the point where I might have to. But I would do the full 8 weeks. I have to do the full 8 weeks. The 6 weeks, I think I rushed it, and it just wasn't. I wasn't where I needed to be to walk on that leg. However, it is what it is. I don't regret it at all. I'm still experiencing the comfort as far as taking the ankle bone off the ground, lifting it up, and them doing what they needed to do. But yeah, man, it was weird. So as of now, I would say beforehand my balance was okay, or like again, it was good. For me, it was good. I think now that both the surgeries have happened, and now we're talking 3 years ago at this point, my balance is still not where it was, and I think this is the part where I'm thinking of going back to physical therapy. Just because that I want to be 100% where I was again. So like now when I stand, I can't stand in one space for long. And it's not because there's anything like wrong with my brain or throwing my balance off mentally or something like that, cognitively. It's more so like my feet have not been able to adjust from like everything up to my waist has not been able to adjust back to the way that it was. And I honestly think that physical therapy would probably help with that, because I just think that I look at myself and think that it could be going a lot better if I was back to where I think I'm supposed to be. And that's where I'm just like, I think physical therapy would help with that. Again, it's not that my balance sucks or that it's off. It's improved a lot, honestly, since the whole, again, 3 years and just recovering. It's improved a lot. I just think that it can be better. And I think, again, the only way that it's honestly going to get better is if I employ some help. So yeah, because even before the surgeries, I was doing pre-physical therapy so they could give me a rundown of what it might look like to be in physical therapy for an ankle surgery type ordeal. So yeah, and of course, what's this one?
the knee scooter. I talked about it, man. That knee scooter. I still have it. It's in storage at not for the fear, but for the hopes that I will get a better second round of surgeries of that, of course, require me to stay off of my feet. Because again, like I said, now, like and when I first thought about the surgeries, I'm thinking that my feet will look like everyone else's. I'll have the ankle bone. I'll be a few inches taller due to the movement of all the bones and the joints and how they're supposed to go. Nope. But again, I think with the second opinion and just prayer and just wishful thinking, something might come of it to where I have to use it again, and I might even feel better about the results that I'll get. So yeah, like I said, the downtime, I took off work. I took off of work at my old job. I took off of work. So the first time I took the full 8 weeks, whatever. At the second time, I took 4 weeks because I think that's when COVID was announced. No. Yeah. I took like 6 weeks. I took the 6 weeks. And then during that 6 weeks, I think the last week, COVID was announced. So that did me good. So like I've been telling people, like I've been working from home since November of 2019. I'm like, what's COVID? I've been at home since October of 2019, but yeah, the COVID hit, so that saved me from honestly not going back into an office that I did not want to go back into, and ultimately not going back to the office at all. So that saved me from that, and that's where I was. That would be the downtime. Like again, during that time, I did journal a lot. I was given some advice to like this journal about what's going on in your mind, not necessarily what's going on, I guess, physically, but like what's going on in your mind. So I journaled a lot. I watched a lot of TV. I started a clothing brand as well during that time, and then got I learned packaging, grouping, pricing. I learned a lot of stuff during that time, and again, 2020 the overall, and then I took that into 2020 and just like basically grew a business. Me and my girlfriend grew a business at the time, and honestly, just did whatever did whatever during COVID, or during the downtime. So, like I said, the relief and it says and the pain. So the relief portion is definitely there. I honestly see myself buying and wearing more shoes that I typically would not have been able to wear before because that ankle bone is definitely like, if it wasn't sitting on, it was sitting lower than my foot, so it was just bringing mad discomfort. But now that ankle bone is above where I guess the normal short shape of a shoe, where it has that little indent for your arch, people have the arch and they have the little indent, my ankle is no longer necessarily sitting on that either that crease or just sitting over. It's a little bit up, so it brings more comfort and it allows me to wear more shoes than I could before. And even then, I still buy comfortable shoes that have padding, that have a lot of padding, that have not necessarily good ankle support, but padded ankle support. Because again, a lot of that stuff is just it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Like thin leather dress shoes, I would never wear. And I told my folks the other day, I no longer wear shoes with shoelaces because oftentimes those are padded. They're not padded, and it looks the way that I do not feel comfortable with wearing shoes that make my foot look like that. Yeah, it's one thing to say get over it, but again, you're not the one in the shoe, and you've never been in my shoes, literally or figuratively, ever. So you will never understand. However, hopefully there's someone that is listening to this podcast that does understand, and it's like, man, I'm not the only one that go through something like that. And again, you're not. We've been going through it. If this triggers you, but if this finds you, we've been going through it our whole lives. And again, now I'm just at the point where I've gotten the surgery, I've gotten some comfort, and I've gotten some confidence along with that comfort to wear other pairs of shoes that I think are good looking and good, like good pairs of shoes. However, some pain does still reside. So like I said, if I shave the calluses too much, I have to wait for like 5 days to 7 days for it to get a little thin layer. And when that thin layer comes back in, that week to 2 weeks are the most comfortable days of wearing my slipper, my Crocs, my shoes, my luxury shoes. Like, those are the most comfortable 2 weeks. So like, honestly, when we plan trips, when we go somewhere, if I know 2 weeks beforehand, I'm shaving my foot. I'm shaving my foot like that day when we find out. Just by that time when we're going, I'm in maximum comfort level, at least for my feet. I'm in maximum comfort level. I'm telling you, man, I've done a lot of learning and timing when it's come to my feet. I've done a lot of learning and timing when it's come to my feet, and I think, again, I found something that works for me. I honestly did. So what's the next? Shoe collection. Yeah. So again, beforehand, like, let's say again, beforehand, wasn't really wearing shoes like that. I tried, they didn't work. But now I've dibbled and dabbled in some shoes. Nike Triax. I find those to be comfortable and not too bad looking on my feet. Nike, and I'm a big Nike shoe wearer because they do provide the comfort that I'm looking for, the padding, the comfort, and the, again, overall look and style. Dang, there's these shoes that I plan on buying a couple weeks from now, and I have 2 pairs already. I got the Nike Triax. I found that some Steve Madden shoes are pretty comfortable. I got another pair of Nike ACG boots. MK2 Technos. There we go. So the Nike Techno M2K. So basically, if you know anything about shoes, they're supposed to be the upgrade of the Nike Monarchs, which are, again, old people wear. They're very comfortable. They're trying to bring them back and make them more for younger people. Good luck. That's all I'm saying on that. But I wear the Nike Techno M2Ks, the Triax, some Steve Madden shoes, the Steve Madden Possessions, the men line, a couple Chelsea boots, and now that I found that since my surgery, my left foot is now thicker or wider than my right foot. So my right foot is more narrow, and it's more narrow, so it makes less of a profile. Whereas the left foot, it's a little bit wider, so it creates more of a profile, and that prohibits me from wearing leather Chelsea boots. Because again, you have to wear the pair, right? So that prohibits me from wearing leather Chelsea boots. So what I found is that, for one, Steve Madden makes Chelsea boots. They're comfortable and they're made from fabric. So I can either buy the round toe or the pin toe, just again for the look that you're going for. I think there's one more shoe in my closet that I'm not, besides Crocs. And then, like, I have a pair of Alexander McQueen's. So what I did for those, because those bottoms are very hard, and then I think these are for most luxury type shoes, or just because they use such a genuine and fine leather, quote unquote. I took that sole out and I put a Dr. Scholl's gel-in sole in there. That was the best thing that I've ever could have done for that pair of shoes. Because for the first year of purchasing or having such an, again, expensive pair of shoes, I was uncomfortable. So at that point, I took those out. Finally figured out how this whole, I guess it was supposed to work. Put those in. I could wear those shoes for a mighty long time. So that's for that. I want to say there's something else. Nike Air Max 98s. Those were one of the first shoes that I bought. Still have one pair of those. I gave away the other two because they were too small. Like I said, I thought I was gonna stay well with my toes not being straightened out the way that I thought they were gonna be. I was still able to maintain a size shoe 11. However, came to find out you don't wear an 11 due to the fact that your left foot is bigger and it's just basically a little bit better for you to get a little bit more room considering how your how your feet are. I moved up to 11 and a half, but 12 is too big. So please do not buy me a 12. However, for the Nike Tree X, I wore a 12. I decided to buy a 12. I feel like there's another shoe in my closet. I just can't remember it at the time. However, now I do have my eye on these New Balances. And again, if the New Balances are uncomfortable, they will be getting returned. So yeah, that's it for that. I mean, again, my shoe collection is slowly building. I have a pair of I think I talked about it on my podcast on the last episode about the pair of Jordans that I bought. But I have a pair of Jordans that I bought, and they're not uncomfortable. They just cannot take the width of my left foot. It's highly disappointing because the right one fits fine. It's comfortable, but when it comes to the left, I don't want to get them widened because they're going to be worth some money if I ever decide to resell them. And I don't want them altered in that type of way. But it just sucks. I've wore them less than 6 times. I don't think I can wear them anymore. So it's just like, But they're the Jordan 18s that came out in 2003. However, I got the re-release in 2018. And I've only worn them, like I said, less than 6 times. And they're the black and royal blue. So the black suede and the royal blue. And I'm just like, man, I'm going to wear them one more time, hopefully before the end of this year. Because, again, they're a special shoe, but they just can't take the width of my left foot, which is highly upsetting. But, yeah, that goes as far as, like, my shoe collection and, like, what I've been working on. So let's go to the next thing, the pedicures. So, like I said, I've had a pedicure less than 5 times since the surgeries. And it's not that I don't enjoy it. Again, like I said, with the shaving of the bottom of the feet, it is what it is. But again, it feels good. Somebody's massaging, and you get the hot candle wax depending where you go, and you get the lilies and the wine. The wine takes away all the pain because I'll admit the first couple times, and seeing that I don't go as often as I probably should. It's a pain every time, and again, I'm not going as much as frequently as I need to from my foot to become one with the pain in a sense. However, it's still painful a little bit when she grabs my feet and starts scraping. She's very gentle with my with my hammer toes, if we want to call it that. She's very gentle with my toes as far as like clipping them and trying to move them or maneuver them to where they need to be clipped. I try to stick with one person, but I don't. However, I do stick with one nail salon off there in McKinney in Dallas. So if you want to go, I forget their name, but I honestly do. I just look them up every time I feel like pampering myself. But no, the pedicures have actually been a thing, and I have been told that you have neglected yourself from a great experience for far too long. And I would say I must agree. I have neglected myself from such a good experience for far too long. But again, I still have my reservations and my hesitations. However, I am more leaning to go if I want to pamper myself or just get out the house and just have somebody else do it for a change. Like I said, the different size feet. Like I said, my left foot is a little bit wider due to the way that it healed, and honestly, the swelling on my left foot has not completely left. And you would think after 3 years that would completely leave. No, it still swells up from time to time, just not as bad as like say fresh out the surgery. But my right foot is more narrow, and with that, I've also noticed, like I said, on my left foot, it's also longer too, to where the point where my left foot is the actual 11 and a half, to where my right foot is an 11. And now you have to think about if you buy a size 12. To me, I think, well, again, I think about this as like, for one, I have a whole shoe size that's not being fulfilled in the right foot. And when I drive, normally if I'm wearing my Crocs, which are my driving shoes, but if I'm wearing my driving shoes, my toe is at the tip of the shoe and it's on the pedal. Now, when I wear a shoe that's bigger than my foot on my driving foot, I have to account for that space when I'm on the pedal. And it's honestly not the best experience subconsciously. You always have to think about that when you're driving and you have to be careful. I don't like it. So I'd rather wear an 11 and a half. And that's the other thing about, let's say, certain shoemakers. They only make it from 11 to 12. You have to go and search long and hard to find their 11 and a half for that particular shoe that you are looking at. However, I've been successful in some cases, so that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. So yeah, that's one of the things that has been going on. And now, what did I say? And after all of that, there's will still. Okay, let me just. After all of that, there still might have to be a round 2 of surgeries. So like I said, I would like for my ankle to be up where it needs to be, how 99% of the world is. I would love that. However, if they could take that thing away and just make my foot one narrow thing, but I don't think the way that your anatomy is made to work without certain things of that nature. The toes, they might be addressed in the future. There might be like a 3D printing of a vessel that you can put, who knows? There's so many things, and the world is constantly advancing. So like, let's say from when I first started talking about my foot surgery, which was in like 2010, compared to now getting it in 2019 and 20, who knows what I might have missed out on in those early 2000 years compared to, well, a decade apart, up to 2019 and 20. Like, I might have missed out on something and probably not got the best experience then, or got a worse experience then, came back to 2020, got a better experience, or 15, let's say, or 20, came back and got a better experience. So now I'm hoping that there is some way to get a even better experience on these surgeries and what recovery looks like and what they're able to do as far as bringing normality, quote unquote, as I do the air quotes, normality and comfortability in my life. So again, round 2, it might be around the corner tomorrow, next year, next week, next month, 2 years, whatever the case may be. However, I am not gonna lie, I have been hesitant to go back to that doctor's office even for a simple checkup because I don't know, I'm afraid of them saying they still can't do anything. But I do think I need to go up there to have them check on the feet and see if anything is shifted per se. Because again, if we got 9 screws in one foot and 7 or 8 in the other one, I feel structurally sound standing up, and like my feet will not fall beneath me or crumble beneath me. However, it would be good to go get that checked up. So now that I'm putting this on the air and out there, I'm going to schedule that appointment. And it's just going to be a checkup, and me, Brodsky, as nurse practitioner, his fellows, going to see what's changed throughout the years, see if any of those people are still there. But I'm going to make that appointment. That I will write down. So give me a second. So let's say make new Brodsky appointment. And luckily for the Baylor Stein White app, you get to make those appointments on your phone and on the app. So yeah, back to the toes again. I don't know why I wrote that. However, I'm pretty sure I got something to say. So, and again, now how I've stated, there's like 2 separate cases per foot. And this is on my left foot, right? Let's take this hand. Yeah. So this is the big toe. Your thumb is the big toe, and let's say this toe. So not along now, along with it not being straight, curled up to the left, this toe likes to do its own thing and stick up, and it creates a corn on that joint. So I think that would honestly be my next surgery, to get that either pulled down or laid down to create another, again, a better comfort experience. But basically, if a corn forms right here when I wear hard top shoes, so basically boots, my Alexanders, like friction, again, you know how corns form, is friction rubbing against it, and in order to protect itself, it forms a corn. However, with that corn, if I wear those top, like those other shoes, it starts to hurt. So now what I do when I know I'm gonna wear any of those type of shoes, I peel it off. I peel it off, expose some of like the soft, I wouldn't say raw, but soft skin. Expose some of that soft skin, and basically get it to where I'm able to wear whatever shoe that the occasion calls for, whether it's dress shoes, leather shoes, whatever the case may be. Now for my right foot, let me use my left hand again because right hand can't get right. Again, we got the big toe, and this case is a little different, because I think this is one of the things that causes my right foot to be a size 11 and not a full 11 and a half, is that these toes tuck more under the big toe. So like my big toe comes and like basically hovers over all the toes, while on the left foot it sort of stays out unless everyone has an individual personality. We're on the left foot, whereas the right foot, the big toe covers all the toes, and for one toe in particular, it goes all the way under, and it just tucks itself in. I don't know how much more descriptive I can be, but it tucks itself in and makes it real uncomfortable. So when I have hard shoes on my right foot, I have to be conscious or cognitive of how long I'm wearing those shoes, because let's say when I was coming up, a couple shoes that I had like coming up would, again, hard bottom. Now I have a corn that's forming underneath my foot, and I can barely see it, so I have to feel around and peel that corn off. And it's been a process, man. It's definitely felt like, again, I think this has definitely been a process of, you know how I would think that other people have a lot of other things. Everyone has a thing to worry about, again, about what makes them comfortable. This was mine. This was, I would say, one of mine. This was one of mine, and it made me more uncomfortable than it did comfortable, because only certain things, and that's the other thing, I would always try to do everything in one day, but it would never be that way, because for one, it's best to do it when your feet are soft. So like, unless I'm soaking my feet all day that one day, it's not gonna happen. It was just a thing. It was so much a thing, man. Just to find comfort and just trying to be looked at as normal, and just like, and again, now you have everybody like, oh, what's wrong with his shoes laying in there. Let's not even bring like the bullies aspect into it, or like, yeah, whatever, the people opening their mouth and just asking questions they know nothing about, which I barely know anything about. So now I'm on the defense, and even then it's just like, man, it's definitely been a process of talking, finding, researching, all the things that you could probably possibly think of. I've done it all as it pertains to my feet. So we made it through all of that, right? Oh man, like I said, this is gonna be the new longest episode. However, we made it to all of that, and now we've made it to the words of advice. And what I wrote was, work on feeling ashamed, and do not Ooh, let's ooh. Let's hold up. All right, there we go. Work on feeling ashamed. So again, if you are, hold on, excuse me. If you are, I wouldn't say ashamed, but if you, no, it is. You're ashamed of something that you cannot necessarily help. So I think, again, before I go back to the words of advice, I think it's best to find a way to cope with what's going on with you. Again, other people have different issues, so this is one of the things that Marfan people go through. Whether it's your chest, hands, heart, way you walk, way you talk, way you look, whatever it is, cope with it and shine. And again, this goes back to the quote. I think what was it, sink or shine or something like that, and choose to shine. Honestly, however, this is what I said. So words of advice: work on feeling ashamed. So embrace that and flip it, and do and wear. There we go. And do and wear what makes you feel comfortable. Talk about talk about comfort zone and fashion. Uh, yeah, that's what I wrote. So I'm gonna say it one more time in its entirety. Work on feeling ashamed and do and wear what makes you comfortable. To talk about comfort zone and fashion. So again, do and wear what makes you feel comfortable. Like I said, if I don't like the way it looks on my feet, probably not. 99% not gonna buy it. If I don't like the way it feels, but it looks good, I'm not gonna sacrifice it and buy it. I just won't. It's just not in me. And to say ashamed might be harsh. However, I'm gonna say this. I am very sad on the way that my feet look. I do try to embrace it. I look in the mirror when I'm laying on the couch because we have a mirror in the living room that points at the couch and whatever else. And when I'm sitting on the couch, I'm directly aligned with the mirror, and I look at my feet, and I just said, man, and some days I say, man, if I could break my own toes, I would. However, I just know that would not be beneficial for me. And that's something I've honestly been thinking about since I was a kid. I was like, man, I wonder if I just break my own feet and see what happens. I'm happy I never did. But like I said, I'm coping with it. I'm around people that want to be around me for one, and I spend time with myself and thinking about myself and thinking about scenarios, and I am still learning to cope with me not necessarily having normal feet, and how to better or just cope with every situation that I'm in, either whether it's in my house, or at the comfort of out the comfort of my own house into someone else's, and just work on it from there. Yeah, man. Like I said, this is definitely still one of the biggest things that's a work in progress for me. And I've been working, like, again, if I go to someone's house, I'll bring my slippers. I have no problem bringing my slippers to someone else's house. I honestly don't. They don't question it. I don't say nothing. I'm comfortable. Let's play some cards. Let's get it over with. But yeah, man. Again, just work on being one with yourself and coping with yourself, and being sad and knowing that if I can't get this corrected, how do I live with it? And I think that's one of the things that I ask myself constantly is like, if I can't get this corrected, how do I live with it? If I can't get this corrected, how does this affect my life in the future? If I can't get this corrected, how do I tell my kids or my children when they start asking questions? Because you cannot get defensive and everything else with your children. You just can't. But that is something that I have been asking myself, been thinking about, and honestly working on. So I'll say this. I'm definitely still a work in progress as it pertains to just having Marfan syndrome. I'm definitely a work in progress. So let's go. Let's go. Conclusion. The road is a long one. Simple and put. Simple and plain. Simple and put. Plain blank period. Whatever you want to say. The road is a long one. Like I said, and if we just include all the surgeries, 3 heart surgeries before 27, and I think I had those 2. No, I turned 27, and then I had 2 feet surgeries before the age of 28. So I have scars going up my legs, scars going across my feet, and again, it's a journey, man. The road. It's a long road. I think that it's been very educational road as far as learning, talking with different doctors, talking with different nurses, everything. I would honestly talking with different researching shoes, YouTubing shoes, talking with different people about shoes, how shoes are made. I've learned, like I said, I've learned a lot. And now as it pertains to the heart, what's good for the heart, what's bad for the heart, what different medications do, I've learned a lot. Like, again, these past couple years have been honest. I appreciate these past couple years because I feel like the 12 years that I spent in school was to learn school stuff. And the past 4 years, I feel like I've learned everything that I needed to know about my life and how everything pertains to saving my life, whether it's sweating, how to stop myself from sweating, how to be comfortable in my own skin, how to live. And I feel like I've learned so much in these past couple of years that it's been crazy. So again, shout out to me and applaud me. What did Snoop Dogg say? He said, "I like to thank me." Well, honestly, I see where he was coming from. It's a learning experience, and again, you got to go out there and learn it and everything else. But I've learned a lot, and I've learned certain things that are just gonna make me comfortable in this Marfan syndrome game, or make me win this Marfan syndrome game, even though it's not a game. But you get what I'm saying. Honestly, even before I go to the next segment, I hope that this story. Again, I hope that this story resonated with someone. You were able to align, resonate, sympathize, want to share with me or someone else, whether it was a similar story or something that you feel like you're going through that no one else is. I hope that you were able to find that in this episode. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are the greatest, and one applaud for y'all as well. But I hope that you were able to find, again, like what it is that makes you comfortable. And I think that's what this episode is mainly about. Again, aside from everything else, is finding what makes you comfortable. So, in conclusion, shout outs to all the doctors. Shout out to all the doctors. Shout out to all the nurses. Shout out to all the, honestly, the people that I met. I met a couple cool nurses waking up from each of my foot surgeries. They were cool. They were real cool. Well, actually, it was one. And then I asked for them when I got out my second surgery. I was like, "Hey, is this nurse still here?" And they came back and was like, "You rang?" I was like, "Oh, snap." But shout out to them. Shout out to all the help. Like again, all the help. Shout out to all the big boots that I bought. I think I still got my cast somewhere. I think I kept it. Yeah. Shout out to everyone that was just along for the journey. How to reach out to me. Like again, all my social medias. The Marfan Homie YouTube channel. I keep saying this, but it is coming soon. Before the end of this quarter, I'll upload some videos. I'll figure out everything that I need to do. Honestly, I'll probably even pay somebody to upload the videos, and that's gonna cost a pretty penny. However, I gotta get this rolling, man. Subscribe to me. Send me some money. Subscribe to me on Anchor, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts with whatever your preference is. However, I would and really appreciate a subscription for all three platforms. And again, if you do that, you are a champ. And if you honestly do that, reach out to me. We might work something out. But yeah, subscribe to me. Reach out to me. Everything's gonna be in the description of these podcasts and of these videos. And honestly, man, I honestly thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful weekend. Whenever you decide to listen to this, just have a wonderful and be wonderful. With that being said, peace.